Hey, this is Matt Urtz, the Madison County Historian. We are continuing to document different businesses, peoples, and organizations that have been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. We are very lucky today to have Liz Metzger, who is the director of the Canastota Public Library, with us. Liz, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, Matt. Thanks for inviting me.
Talk a little bit about when COVID-19 first appeared on your organization's radar.
Well, it was the second week in March, and there was a lot of press about it, and we were still open to the public until the governor's mandate that everyone close the week of, I think, March 15th.
I think the county closed the 20th, and that was a Friday, and I think everyone was done the 22nd,
right,
23rd.
Right. So the week of March 15th, we had staff still coming in, but no public at that point. And then the guidelines came through that we had to completely shut down for staff and public after that. So it was really hard to do. We basically shuttered our doors and left everything as is, and all of the books are on hold for people. And we're just sort of waiting. I had to have all of the library's calls forwarded to my cell phone. We had to let our vendors know not to send any packages to us with books in them or other materials, to try and get all those ducks in a row so that we could be completely closed. Put up our signs and stuff like that on the door.
So when you guys closed, did you have any everybody thought it was going to be 2 weeks. That was kind of the
yes, thing. That's right.
When did you start to realize that wasn't going to be the case, and we better start figuring out a longer term plan for what might happen?
So I think as a whole, the Mid-York library system, we all thought, oh, this will be just a couple of weeks and we'll be back to work. And then after the 2 weeks went by and then 3 weeks, we thought, okay, now we need to figure out what we're going to do as far as down the road. How are we eventually going to handle the new normal? So the library directors met virtually every Wednesday morning, and with the Mid-York library staff tried to figure out, okay, well, it's not going to be safe to have materials traveling from one library to another for a while. So once we were allowed to open up for curbside delivery starting the 15th, we had to have Mid-York reconfigure the online catalog so that people can just search our library and request just our materials, so that we can pull those from our shelves and take them out to their cars starting next week. It's been a whole new way of thinking about everything. Materials that are returned to the library have to be quarantined for a minimum of 72 hours. We're washing our hands if we're not wearing gloves. We have masks and shields that the staff are wearing while we prepare the library. I just purchased stickers for the floor so that once we are allowed to let our customers in, they know how to stand 6 feet apart. And we've gotten a lot of practice doing that in grocery stores and other places. So it'll be just like other venues, but we don't know yet when we will be allowed to let the public in.
Well, and that begs another question. You guys are in a unique spot because people utilize your technology a lot.
Right.
Between your faxes and scanners and probably most commonly computers. Are you guys putting in protocols in place? How are you going to sanitize, all that fun stuff?
Right.
And that's going to be shut down when you first open it.
Well, what we're doing as far as printing services, we're asking people to email to us what they want printed, and then we print it for them, and then we will take it out to their vehicle, and they can, pay us now or pay us later if necessary. For faxing, we have had a lot of requests for faxing. So we've put together a box that we take out to your car with a clipboard in it and a pen, and you fill out your information. and we come and get it and fax for you, and then give you the receipt for that. Just like curbside service, we're doing curbside faxing. Now, the computers are going to be trickier. It would be great. I guess it would be great if we were able to supply everybody with a clean pair of gloves, but I don't know if our glove supply will last that long. It's been hard to get gloves. It's getting easier, but initially it was very hard to get gloves. So we have hand sanitizer next to the computers, and we're thinking that maybe if we ask them to sanitize their hands before touching the keyboard, and then we clean it after they leave, we're hoping that that's going to be adequate. We haven't had a whole lot of direction on computers. I don't know how, I don't think there's anything I can spray on a keyboard that's might do some damage to the computer, you know what I mean? Or if we're going to have plastic sheets that we replace over the keyboard. I don't know. We haven't really had any guidance on that yet. So we're hoping that the hand sanitizing and, us being vigilant about wiping up surfaces and stuff like that will be adequate.
Have you found that while this has been going on, you have a bigger demand or more people asking for your services in the interim? Because I know a lot of people are looking for anything to kind of in the time.
Right. Well, we did see an increase in usage of our digital resources. So people were accessing our audiobooks and ebooks and movies online in greater numbers than prior to the quarantine. So that was great to see that. We do have a large community that are book readers, and we were told that many of them were just sharing with their family members. So if they had books at home from the library or from our book sale, they were lending them to their siblings and spouses and cousins and things like that.
So your people were becoming mini libraries themselves.
Mini libraries, exactly, which is great to hear. I really wanted to be able to put our free books out on the curb, but we didn't know if people would congregate around that and not stay at a safe distance, and we didn't want anybody to, be infected by doing that, so we just didn't do it. We did, however, we had a whole bunch of new children's books that were very nicely donated to us from Tops Supermarket, and early on in April, we gave about 1,000 books to the Canastota Central Schools because they were delivering meals to students. So we asked that if there was anybody interested in a book that they could keep, that they deliver the books along with the meals. So we're hoping that took place.
So talk a little bit about, I've done presentations at your location. We've partnered and done different things, yes. Walking tours and stuff like that. Is that something you see coming back, or is that something that may be lost now because of this?
Oh, I hope it isn't lost, Matt. I hope we get to the point where people will be comfortable coming back into the building and congregating, but we just don't know when that will be. We have so many clubs and groups and organizations that use our space on a regular basis, everything from the Lions Club to Bone Builders, Exercise Group, etc. And they're all interested in coming back, but of course, we aren't allowed yet to have groups. And once we are, we'll have to figure out the size of rooms and how many people it can safely hold, and that everybody that comes into a group meeting has to wear a mask and practice, physical distancing. And so that's going to make it hard for some groups to continue to meet because they're large enough that they might not be able to have physical distancing in our smaller spaces.
How do you think this is going to change how the libraries, yours and libraries in general, function in the future? Because obviously you mentioned it. I'm assuming that that rate of people utilizing digital materials is probably going to stay up because a lot of people just learned how to do it.
That's right. I think that is going to stay up, and I also think that there are going to be some folks who would like us to continue to bring their materials out to them even after our doors are open. And we have made a commitment to do that. We do have a lot of senior citizens in our community that use our library frequently, and we want them to be comfortable, and we want them to have access to our materials. And if that means we have to step outside to the parking lot, we are happy to do it.
Do you feel like this is going to change how people look at libraries in the future? I mean, libraries are, what's the right way to put it? They're in a transition phase because you guys are adapting to a new world, more technology.
Right.
And while there's still a lot of people that read books, there's also, you guys have now e-readers and stuff like that. So
that's right. So the biggest thing for me, Matt, is that we've really become a community center. We have 3 book clubs and 2 writing groups and 2 knitting groups and about 25 organizations that meet here either weekly or monthly. And none of that has been able to happen during the quarantine. And I imagine that some of it may disappear once we are allowed to have people back in the building. And I hate to see that because we were so vital as a community center. We would like to be able to get back to that. So we're going to work really hard to make it safe for people to do that. You will have to wear a mask when you come into the library. You will have to, have just a few people on an aisle at the same time so that you're not too close together. In our meeting rooms, we are going to try and space things out so that people can have a meeting and still have some physical distancing between them. I think a lot of people would be more comfortable that to do all of this when a vaccine becomes available. But that could be years away. So it's really hard to say how quickly we will get back to being a community center, but that's our goal.
Is there anything you'd like to say to the folks? We'll try and get this out this week about your upcoming curbside service or just in general.
Well, we have missed everybody so much because we are on a first name basis with so many people in our community, and we've been worried about the health and safety of all of our patrons. We've had an opportunity to talk to a lot of them on the phone. We've called regular patrons and just to check in on them to see how they're doing, and we're very happy to hear that everybody has been doing well, which is a great relief. But we do look forward to serving all of the community again, and we welcome your suggestions on how to do that safely. I think the curbside service is a good start, and we will, as time goes on, figure out how to do more and more things. We have lots of materials that we've put together for children and families to borrow in lieu of our summer reading program. So we have at the end of the month, we'll be announcing that you can pick up craft kits here and things like that so that people will be able to do projects at home. We're loaning out all sorts of story time boxes and baby boxes with toys in them. And so things that people were able to access in the building, we've now barcoded, and we're going to let them go out into the community for people to use at home. Because they can't use them here. We're even putting together a box of wooden train parts so that somebody could be able to assemble a little train at home and play with it themselves, because we have a cute train set in our children's room now. So I think it'll take some time, and we hope everybody can be patient and bear with us, but I think that the new normal will get to feel more comfortable, and we'll be able to carry on and hopefully at some point get back to close to where we were before all of this happened.
Thank you for taking the time. I will openly admit I need to get to your library to utilize the microfilm, but beyond that, I always love visiting there. Everyone's always wonderful, and I look forward to presenting there sometime down the road again. And maybe digitally soon.
That's right. Maybe we will be able to do that digitally. Thanks so much. It was a pleasure talking with you and seeing you with you, Matt.
You as well. I look forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.